Hello, this is our first class on non-conventional energy sources. So all of you know about the difference between conventional and non-conventional energy sources. Before going in detail about this discussion, let us first discuss about what is energy. So we know different forms of energy. We know about electrical energy, the kinetic energy associated with the flowing water. Light, we know light is a form of energy. We know heat is a form of energy. We know about the energy, the chemical energy in a battery. So all these are different forms of energy. Now scientists define this energy as the ability to do work. So we discussed about different types of energy, and we know that this energy can be converted from one form to another form. For example, in a thermoelectric power station, the kinetic energy from the flowing water is converted into electrical energy. So in a battery, the chemical energy is getting converted into electrical energy, etc. So actually the modern civilization became possible because people have learned how to change energy from one form to another form and then use it to do work. So we have enormous amount of energy in our environment, but the problem is we have to convert it into some usable form. And the development of this human race was possible only due to our efforts to convert the energy from one form to a usable form. The food a person eats contains chemical energy. A person's body stores this energy until he or she uses it as kinetic energy during work or play. Similarly, the coal and natural gas, they are having chemical energy. So after burning it, can be converted into heat energy, and this heat energy is used to produce steam, and through the steam, using the steam, we are rotating a turbine, working a turbine, and we are converting it into electrical energy. So what is happening here is, after all, the chemical energy associated with the coal is converted into electrical energy. Another thing is the kinetic energy of the flowing water in rivers can be converted into electrical energy. In a solar panels, the electrical energy can be converted into the electrical energy can be converted into light and heat. In solar panels, you can convert solar energy into electrical energy. So we can convert one form of energy to another form. So it is we are converting energy from a non-usable form to a usable form. So that is actually the the reason behind the growth of this human race. So we know there are different units for different physical quantities. For example, if we want to measure some length or distance, we have units such as centimeter, meter, kilometer, etc. So if you want to measure the time, we have second, minute, hour, etc. We want to measure the mass, we have gram and kilogram, etc. The same way, to measure energy, we need a unit. The unit of energy is joule. And another important term we want to remember is power. So if we consume the amount of energy consumed per second is called power. The energy consumed per second or work done per second is called power. The unit of power is joule per second, which is usually known as watt. You are very much familiar with this term watt. Now, conventional sources of energy. So we have images of coal and petroleum. The conventional sources of energy are natural energy resources which are present in a limited quantity and are being used for a long time. They are called non-renewable sources, as once they are depleted, they cannot be generated at the speed at which can sustain its consumption rate. So they are formed from decaying matter over hundreds of millions of years. Some common examples of conventional sources of energy include coal, petroleum and natural gas. So these we are mainly using these sources of energy. And of course there is hydroelectric power. So actually that is we can refill the dam during rainy seasons. So it is some way different from these sources like coal, petroleum and natural gas. Anyway, still it is hydroelectric power stations are called as conventional energy sources. So conventional sources of energy, these sources of energy are not abundant, present in limited quantity, example coal, petroleum, natural gas. They have been in use for a long time. They are not replenished continuously, they are formed over a million years. They are called non-renewable sources of energy. They can be exhausted completely due to overconsumption except for hydel power. So hydel power, so during rainy seasons dams will also again refill, so it can be continuously we will get power if there is rain. So all other sources of continuously the amount of coal, petroleum, natural gas etc. are reducing in nature. And another important point is, if you consider this coal, petroleum and natural gases, they pollute the environment by emitting harmful gases and they contribute to global warming. And the global warming will contribute to the change in the climate. And it is it's a threat to the all living organisms in this world. And these non-conventional sources, they are commonly used for industrial and commercial purposes nowadays. Heavy expenditure is involved in using and maintaining these sources of energy. They are used extensively at a higher rate than the non-conventional sources. Now, most of our energy needs are satisfied by these conventional sources of energy, and these non-conventional sources of energy is actually is in a developing stage, and in future we may use the various type of non-conventional sources. So we have different types of non-conventional sources of energy. The first figure shows, on the top shows the wind energy, wind farm. So energy can be extracted from wind. So this is a biogas plant. Energy can be extracted from biogas plants. So this is what is called ocean thermal energy conversion system, the schematic diagram of an ocean thermal energy conversion system. So usually at the top of the ocean there is will be at a higher temperature than that of the bottom of the ocean. So this temperature difference can be used to produce electricity. So that is vortex systems we usually call it. And this is a turbine on the shore of a sea. So during high tide, the level of water in the sea will rise, and water will flow through this turbine in one direction. So during that motion it will rotate the turbine. So during the low time the water will flow in the opposite direction, again it will rotate the turbine. So these during low tides and high tides, when the water rises and falls, this turbine will rotate. So it can produce, when the turbine rotates, electrical energy can be produced. And this is another thing, geothermal energy. So there is if you go deep into the surface of into the earth, you can see there are regions where water at high temperature is locked between large areas, trapped in large areas, and this heat energy associated with this water can be used to run power stations, and that is the method we are. There are different techniques to extract the energy from the earth. So this is generally called geothermal energy, and there is energy associated with the wave. Waves in oceans. This using this we can extract energy. We can extract energy from sunlight using solar panels. All these are not commonly used. This is newly developed methods to extract various forms of energy into usable, convert various forms of energy into usable forms. That is why they are called non-conventional sources of energy. So generally, non-conventional source of energy are the energy sources which are continuously replenished by natural processes. So we know that sunlight, if we consider solar energy, you can see that we are getting solar energy, sunlight every day. So it will not exhaust by our usage. This cannot be exhausted easily, can be generated constantly, so can be used again and again. Example, solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, biomass energy and geothermal energy, etc. The energy obtained from non-conventional sources is known as non-conventional energy. These sources do not pollute the environment and do not require heavy expenditure. Once the non-conventional energy sources are established, the initial installation cost may be high, but the running cost will be very low because fuel is free. And another major advantage of this non-conventional source of energy is that these sources do not pollute our environment. They are called renewable resources as they can be replaced through natural processes at a rate equal to or greater than the rate at which they are consumed. So if we consume these non-conventional energies, so they can be refilled at a rate more than or equal to the rate that we are consumed. So that's why we are getting, it will be a continuous source of energy. Okay, this much is about, this is the difference between conventional energy sources and non-conventional energy sources. This I shall consolidate these things once again. These sources of energy are abundant in nature: solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, biogas, and from biomass, etc. But they are yet in development phase over the past few years. They are replenished continuously by natural processes. They are called renewable energy sources. They cannot be exhausted completely. They are environmental friendly, do not pollute the environment. They are used commonly for household purposes. Running expenses of these sources are less. They are not used as extensively as as they are in a developing stage. They are not used as extensively as conventional energy sources like thermohydroelectric power stations, thermoelectric power stations, and etc. Okay. Thank you.